What's up, gardeners? I just got the majority of my seed order, and I gotta tell you, I realized something and I want to share it with you so you can get the most out of your money for the year and be able to grow as much as possible. But we also got to check on my plan for the garlic. I kind of think I've come up with a better plan. And then a couple of the collard plants that I showed you in a couple previous videos, I figured out why they were looking kind of weak. And then I want to talk about what seeds that I have that I just can't wait to tell you about because I'm super excited to grow them. So a couple videos ago, I was telling you about my collard plants. I have 2 of them in this one bed, and they're looking a little scraggly. And I wasn't really sure what was going on, but I started testing a couple things. Sure enough, there is some change and there's some improvement, so it looks like we figured it out. The rest of my garden, my collard plants are looking really good, but here you can see there's a little bit of an issue. So you can see, if I get down lower, how it's just kind of looking actually just straight pitiful. And this one was not far behind it. And so if you look right here, a couple weeks ago, there was just 1 leaf, and it was probably this leaf to be exact, but it's obviously coming back. It's only 2 plants in this bed, and I'm gonna rework these beds this year anyways, because I'm gonna do a little something with my irrigation. There'll be more of that to come. But I was thinking either I had a disease, I had a pest, or there's like a fertilization issue, or maybe a watering issue. So I get pests from time to time. I mean, we saw in the last video that they definitely have attacked that collard plant in that low tunnel right there. And I mean, we take care of that, that's not a problem. But I never really have diseases or anything like that with them. So it led me to believe that it was either gonna be fertilizer or water. And so the first thing I did is I just stopped watering. So at this point, I haven't watered my entire garden in over a week. We got cooler weather now. We had the hurricane that came by didn't really give us much. But by stop watering, all of a sudden it came back. So it turns out we were over watering a little bit, and that was for 2 reasons. So one, we had heat coming through and things just really, they were kind of struggling because they're cool weather crops. But then the other thing was we have seeds that we were watering to get them going and get them, situated so they could keep growing. But once they all popped and they were good to go, we just stopped watering, and now that it's cooler, we haven't had that issue. Tonight is gonna be the first frost, and I have my tomatoes here. I could cover them and let them go for a little while longer, but I mean, you can see here we've had a little bit of damage, but I mean, otherwise, nothing much. We've gotten 3 cans of this so far. We've eaten a bunch, and then we have all of these that I just kind of leave down here for now. I'm gonna get them all in tonight before the freeze, and then whatever's left on the plant. But once we pull this up, I'm gonna activate my new plan as far as planting in rows going this way. So I had been telling you that this was prepped for garlic, and I was gonna plant this for garlic. And I'm not gonna do that now. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna do a straight row of garlic here, going across. And so if you look this way, so here's about a square foot. So we'll put 32 garlic in 1 square foot here, and we may go into another row, or more than likely what's gonna happen is we're gonna do the other 3 rows in potatoes. And I really think that's gonna be the best use of my space for this, because the way I was gonna do it before, it's not really the planting during the growing season or anything, it's coming as getting things ready to harvest afterwards. So this will come out, the garlic should come out in about June, middle of June. And the potatoes, depending on the variety I put over here, we're gonna do a lot more about potatoes when they come. But as far as the taters go, we're gonna get a very early maturing and then an early maturing, and we're gonna split them between 2 different beds. And that's just because of what we wanna plant behind it, so we can have enough time in the ground to keep getting a harvest off of other plants. So if I waited until after that was done, the garlic was done, then I couldn't get that plan going. So it kind of makes sense to do that. Now here I have my low tunnel. I just want to show you, because I'm going to follow up on the video when I had set it up for you, how I'm venting it today. It's kind of cool. It's 58 degrees and we're supposed to get a cool night. So I don't want all the heat to dissipate, but I want to be able to capture some of that heat quickly so it'll last through the night. Not very windy today, so we just simply open it up and vent it. And then when we're ready, we'll just grab this and drop it down, and then that'll be good. And so if I do this all winter, I guarantee you those collards right there are gonna overtake it. I'm actually probably gonna have to cut them down a little bit earlier than I wanted to. It kind of sucked to do that, but between the greenhouse and then anything that I cover, it's crazy. Like a couple plants just do enough to kind of feed our family for really all the greens we could possibly need. And if we wanted to freeze some, we could leave a couple, but for the most part, it just doesn't work out for us because there's just too much coming out of it. When you keep it a little bit warmer, it's way more productive. All right, so when we talk about seeds, I ordered my seeds, and I order from a bunch of different places. I tend to use the same 3 or 4 for the most part, unless I can't find something. And this isn't to call out any brand or promote any brand or anything like that. This is just something that kind of clicked in my head, and it was really my own fault. So a lot of times I go to, to Lowe's, is close to my house. And if I need a seed really quick, or, like, especially in the fall when if I'm running low and I'm like, hey, I got a couple, a little bit more time to plant, let me buy something, I'll get, a couple seeds from there. And it's very convenient. So that's the first thing. It's super convenient. It's nice to have that option. So I've been trying to grow a lot of onions, and I've been succession planting a lot, getting the seeds started. And I bought some, I'm gonna cover the name, but you're gonna know who it is. But I got some yellow Granix onions. And I kept buying them, and I'm like, okay, it's $2 a pack. So that's not a big deal. And then I got my seed order the other day, and as soon as I opened it up, I could tell it's chock full of seeds. This seed packet right here is up to here in seeds. Okay, this seed packet here is up to here in seeds. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of try not to drop my seeds on the ground. And so I was like, hold up. Now, to be fair, we're gonna call this the white packet brand. The white packet brand was more expensive, okay? So I think it was more expensive by about $1, roughly, maybe 75 cents. So yeah, it kind of hurt a little bit at first, but then when I got it, I was like, man, there's a lot more seeds in there. So then I looked at it, and it said 3 grams of seeds in the white packet. When I looked at the blue packet, it said 820 milligrams of seeds. And so previously, up in the past couple of years, I've noticed that there's been less and less coming in for that. So just keep an eye out on that when you're ordering your seeds. And sometimes, like, some companies, in my opinion, are more expensive than they need to be. And some companies are cheaper, but there's a reason why they're cheaper sometimes. And there's nothing wrong with the quality. I'll grow this Blue Company seeds all day long. I have no issues with that. I love their seeds. I've been growing their seeds for years. But it's my fault, because when I looked at it, I was like, oh, 820 milligrams versus 3 grams. So the moral of that story is just kind of be diligent about what you're growing and what you're buying, and just make sure that you're reading how much are in each one if you're doing like price shopping or anything like that. And so the 2 seeds that I have in my hand right now are the ones that I'm most excited about that I've received so far. I have others coming, but one of them is that I have some daikon radish, never grown them. It's a good tillage root, so I'm super excited about that. And I'm excited about that because I can put some in the greenhouse probably any day, honestly, and get them going. And it's just gonna drill down into that soil. But we really love making, I have a curry soup that uses daikon radishes that's really good. And then also for the wild garden, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're pretty quick to come to harvest as well. So they're not as fast as regular radishes, but I can still get it in there to work some of that soil up and loosen up that compacted soil that I've been dealing with for the past year. So I'm super excited about that. And the other one, I put a video out, and I'm still gonna ask because I haven't gotten a response that I really wanted, is I'm looking for a new indeterminate tomato. I wanna grow it on the cattle panel, and when I asked on the last video, a lot of people gave me like a black or a purple tomato, and I really don't like growing those for 2 reasons. One is, in where I live, it gets so hot that it really bakes the tomato on the inside. And two, I've grown off-color tomatoes before, and man, call me old-fashioned, I don't know, but I really like just classic red tomatoes. So if you have a good indeterminate tomato that you like and that's a good producer, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I would love to see it so that I could, you know, try something new for the garden. But this year we have the Geranium Kiss. And so we're gonna grow that. And the cool thing about this tomato is it's short. So it's an indeterminate tomato, but it doesn't meet the satisfaction for the cattle panel because it only gets like between 2 and 4 feet. And it just grows tomatoes all the way up until frost. So if we can keep it alive that long, that's gonna be a really good option. And what I'm thinking is it's gonna be really good for the container garden. And so I'll show you how I'm kind of laying out my tomato or my container garden for next year. I'll probably do this 4 or 5 times between then, but this will give you a good idea. The front row, don't really worry about. I've got to get some newer containers, but the back row, this is gonna be the anchor point with these big pots. And one of the things I like about container gardening is tomatoes do really well in containers for me. Especially if you grow the right one. So like that Geranium Kiss, I mean, this right here is a Homestead or semi-indeterminate, and it got to be about 4 feet tall. So, and it actually got stunted. So that's why it's only as short. It should be about up here. But if I can get that Geranium Kiss to be up about this tall, this is gonna be a really good spot for this tomato. And then these other big pots, I have 2 of these and they're just landscaper pots. We'll put those in too for, you know, we can do tomatoes in those and bigger tomatoes or peppers or something like that. And as I get my garden plan going, I'll share with you guys my whole what grows best in containers, at least for me, and kind of see how that can help you guys, because there are some plants that just, for me, every year they just do a lot better in containers than some other things. It seems like they're well suited for it. And I'm not even talking about buying specific varieties for each one. If you have a favorite indeterminate tomato, put it in the comments below so we can see if we can grow it, because I'm really having a mental block, but there's too many choices. Geez, there's too many choices. If you like this video, give us a subscribe and we will see you guys next time.